Welcome back. All right, I know this is hockey, but it's not a hockey jersey, and I figured, I could do that for an entertainment guy video, right? I wear my Duck Stream hat. Not technically Ducks, it's Duck Stream. The shirt that was comped to everybody at the game I went to. See, people say it's an ugly shirt, but you know what? It's very Disney-like. It's very Disney inspired. Not surprising since it's not that far from Disney. And so yeah, I like it. And then this is just one of those. It's a tank top. So, anyways, I just wanted to say, hey, hi, how is everybody? Anyway, and the reason for this video is there's an interesting narrative that's out there when it comes to being a YouTuber, and so I wanted to talk about this because I find it interesting that I was talking about being independent, and I saw people saying you're not independent, you're owned by Google. No, so you go to your job, right? And let's say you decide I'm not going to go to my job tomorrow. I'm just going to stop going. You do the Office Space thing, right? You lose your job. You get fired. You're done. You're out. If I woke up tomorrow and said, I don't think I want to make hockey videos anymore. Now, yes, I would stop making money, but nobody's going to contact me. I would hear from my YouTube rep in all likelihood, like, your numbers are shockingly low. What's going on? Outside of that, and that's where the narrative of Google owns you that I find interesting, and why. And obviously I'm independent because there's nobody telling me what content to do. Like, I've been kind of torn because it's really started to hit me that for 6 months of the year, when it's the regular season, on weekends I have absolutely zero time to myself. I haven't enjoyed a weekend during the regular season since maybe 2018, 2017, before I started doing the reviews like I do them now. So I'm intending to make changes on my main channel with how I do that, because I want to enjoy my weekends. I want to be able to, do stuff and go places. And I really can't, because the way that the National Hockey League schedules the weekends, there is no break. There's no time where there's no games on. And of course, I painted myself into a corner of my own doing, absolutely admitted, where I was like, I'm watching all 1,312 games if I can. If I can't watch certain games, that's fine. Like, for instance, when we went to California, I didn't worry about it. I was kind of like, you know what? Nah. I fought with the VPNs and all that stuff last year, and I was like, I'm not doing it again. And it was actually kind of nice. And I didn't see a lot of blowback. There's going to be people who get mad if I'm not. Like, I would still review all the games, like, as quick recaps. I might change the format. But again, if I was owned by somebody else, I couldn't do that. If YouTubers were owned by other people, they couldn't switch careers and just do that and then come back. And we've seen that, where a channel goes idle for months and then all of a sudden they're back. And I get a notification, go, wow, that channel uploaded a video. I haven't seen them in forever. What's going on? And then I go over and check it out, which I'm not willing to do that. Just so people know, I'm not willing to do that. I do like making videos every day. I'm not even saying I wouldn't make videos every day. Just that on Saturdays, I know that I would be better served by not just watching the games and doing the reviews on that, but by doing other things, doing other kinds of videos. And again, being able to just go out and enjoy myself on the odd Saturday or Sunday. Like, this weekend has been absolutely gorgeous. It's almost summer-like out there. And, watching rabbits outside running around the yard, and even the cats got to go outside and play, and the kids, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like today, in between periods, Yvonne came in and she's like, quick, come out and see the rabbits and come out and talk. And I was like, it's like prison and you're giving me yard time. Like, that's how it felt. So it is just interesting, because whenever I talk about being independent, and I talk about how, I want to keep the channel the way that I envisioned it all those years ago when it started. And I really have, for the most part. There will be those comments of, well, you're not really independent because you work for Google. I don't work for anybody. I work for myself. Because again, while I get prompts here and there, like, Google will tell you if your videos aren't performing where they normally do. So what's interesting is a video that's considered a hit on this channel is considered not so great on the other channel. And a video that's considered to be a hit on that channel, well, this one's never seen success like that. So it's apples to oranges. I know that there's a large crossover between the main channel and this channel in terms of viewers. So I don't worry as much about using the other set. It's there. It's there. And at some point soon, I got to get that fixed. But there's just certain parts of the other set where I'm like, I don't want that in the background, or I just don't like this and that. There's certain little things that are just bugging me, and so maybe I'm being a bit of a perfectionist about it. But yeah, I've honestly been doing a lot of thinking about the work life balance thing, which can be a problem when you're self-employed. Like I've had times since I became a YouTuber where I'm like, okay, I want to, go play video games, that kind of thing. And I think to myself, well, if I have time to do this, I have time to make up a board and do a video. And then I'll think of a topic. I'm like, yeah, I should just do that video instead. So rather than taking that relaxation time, I do something else. When we were on vacation in Disney there a couple months ago now, I found that I was getting ideas for videos here and there. I was kind of happy, and it feels like that's something that I need to do more often. Just take a moment, step back, and again, still making videos every day, doing the same kind of content, but taking some more time instead of just watching every single minute of every game and writing all these copious amounts of notes. Instead, do some other fun stuff. Like I've got some fun new decals I'm turning into magnets. I'm going to be using on that channel. I'm going to have fun with it. But yeah, it's been an interesting weekend, and I stayed out of the power rankings. I stayed out of the comment section. I realized over the last couple of weeks, because I've been trying to reason with people. I've been like, okay, this they're going to be mad, so I'm just going to explain myself, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I have to say. It doesn't matter at all. Nobody cares. So if somebody says, hey, my team's 16th on the board, I think they should be 15th. Why aren't they 15th? And I say they're not 15th because the answer is always, I don't agree with that. Always. There's the rare time where somebody goes, oh, thanks for explaining it. And yeah, that makes some sense. But yeah, like last night, for instance, Colorado has just been absolutely ridiculous lately, and I was like, they're going to move up to third, and Carolina fans are going to be mad, but they're going to move up to third, and sure enough, Carolina fans were mad. But I think Colorado's playing better than they are right now, so there's that. In terms of videos on this channel, obviously been watching a lot of traders. Once I'm done watching all of it, and I'm going to watch all of the international editions I can track down. I'm going to do like my favorites from each cast. I'm going to talk about my favorites from each cast. I know those videos won't particularly do all that well, but I'm okay with that. The biographical videos, I did do the part 4 the other day. It did okay, but still, the life story videos do not get the kind of clicks that first one did, and it does get into some dicey territory. I don't want to do like a life story video where I'm slagging people. I don't want somebody messaging me and going, hey, you said a lot of crap about me in a video. Why? So I don't want to do that. So I have to be I have to explain things and go through things without mentioning names, and it can get kind of tricky at points because I know I'll slip. And a name will just come out, and maybe I won't notice. But yeah, what else have we been doing lately? We still haven't finished Love Island All Stars because I got myself all tradered up, and now I'm just traders. And so that's kind of a disaster. We're all caught up on Next Level Chef, which is still ridiculous. But like I've got other arts and crafts stuff to do over the next few days here, and get prepped for when playoff time rolls around. Because that's the thing too. I keep telling myself that the playoffs are coming, and when the playoffs arrive, my views go up on the main channel by a lot, and my workload drops significantly. Like half the teams are gone, so that means I have half the games to watch. Plus, they don't have back-to-backs anymore, and matinees almost never happen. And if there's a matinee game, that means there's nothing late. or there's a big break in between that matinee game and the late game. So I still have this big block of time there where I'm free. I can do other video stuff. I can relax, and then we get into the second round. You know, to 4 series, 8 teams left, and it gets so much easier. So I keep telling myself it's going to get a lot easier soon, very soon. Also, Yvonne and I are going to be doing a review. We went to Vancouver. We did Space the Infinite. We got the books. We'll go through that. We'll do a video on that. I'm intending to do that tomorrow. Uh, we should have time tomorrow. There isn't an NHL game till 5:30. We should have time tomorrow to do that because it was a really fun experience. It's leaving Vancouver this week and it's heading to Houston. I heard them say it's heading to Houston, Texas. So if you're in Texas, we'll go ahead and review that. And honestly, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. It was great. And now I kind of want a VR headset. I kind of want a VR headset. We use it was, I guess it's the Oculus 2 is what they used, and that was actually kind of fun. I didn't get sick. I didn't feel like I have a nervous stomach and I get motion sickness, and yet I'm out there in space. I'm looking around. It feels like space, but obviously I know I'm not. My feet are still on the ground, so my brain was still like, okay, you're not actually in space. So when we're in space and we're watching the Earth turning beneath us, what could be greater than that? So I had no problem with leaving the house for a few hours yesterday so we could go and experience that. And it is something that I'm glad I found the time to go and do. We had talked about doing it the previous week, but then I didn't have the time. I did pre-record one video to go live on the channel while we were away because it's in that time where I'm normally putting up videos. So I have to make sure that just for my own relaxation that I know something's going live on the channel and it's going to do well. So the one I did on the scheduling, if the league expands, I made that I think 2 days before we went to the space thing. And the way you can tell is I keep changing that Tampa Bay Lightning pennant where it is now. It was Edmonton before that. And I was aware too that when I switched them over, I'm like, but this is right after like Edmonton won a big game, and it's gonna feel like I'm mad at Edmonton when I wasn't. I wasn't even thinking of that. I generally don't get that upset now when I watch hockey, other than when a team I'm rooting for has a 3-goal lead and they blow it. And Boston's done it, Dallas has done it, Vancouver's done it. Over the last month, all three of them have done it. It gets a little tiring at times. There have definitely been days where I'm like, this is just torture. This is obviously a job I do just because I don't like myself, and there we are. But I'm kidding, and all kidding aside and all that. So hopefully over the next couple weeks we're able to get something, find something fun to do. I know on Good Friday there's just one game in the NHL. I don't think it's going to have playoff implications. I think it's New Jersey and Buffalo. So I've talked to her about going out that Friday night. Heading out and doing something fun. So that's my intention, is to do something fun on Good Friday, which is on the 29th. It's 29th is Good Friday. So that's a little less than 2 weeks. And again, if it's just one game, like I've chained myself to this room way too much, and I've done it to myself. This is something that is absolutely self-inflicted. And I've always said it's for the power rankings. I have to watch every single game, and the copious amounts of notes are because people used to say, I don't think you actually watched the game because. So I was like, all right, I'll start taking notes of what I saw in the game. So I don't see the complaints now that I don't watch the games like I used to, but still, when I put up the power rankings, I still see just as much of people saying, you're not paying attention if you think this team's above this team. Okay, why am I taking the copious amounts of notes then? Like, it's just, and again, it's, I know there's people who appreciate that, but if I decide to do the reviews a little bit different, it'll be different details I include. I'll do it differently, but it has to be a way I'm comfortable with as well, so that I won't feel like I'm adding to my workload. It has to feel like I'm making it a little bit easier, especially on nights where there's 12 to 15 games on. I think I need a different system, and especially when it's like 16 games, I really need a different system than what I've been doing, because really 16, and the NHL's going to do it next year, and rumor has it they're going to do more than one of them. They really enjoyed having a new game starting every 15 minutes, so they're going to do it multiple times next season. So I'll tap out. I will absolutely tap out, but I think I need to have a system that once you get to, I would say, 12 games, If it's more than that, and I think the other thing too is if it's a 12 or a 13 game night and 7 or 8 of the games are on at 4 o'clock my time, and if there's going to be 12 games on at the same time, something like that, then I may need to go to a different system. So it'll be a play it by ear kind of thing. And I know a majority of the subscribers will be fine with it. They'll come along for the ride. They have the whole way through. There will be some negative people who aren't happy with me changing things, but that's just the way the internet works. People don't like change. People generally really don't like change. I don't like change either. People that makes people feel better, which is why you never have to worry about the hockey channel going away. As long as I'm around, as long as I'm able to do it, I will run that channel, and I'll run this one too. A lot of YouTubers will abandon their secondary channels if they're not doing great. I don't see a point in that. Why would it? Especially when they create a third channel. Then I'm thinking, what are you doing? You couldn't keep the other second channel. What makes you think you're going to keep this second channel? Oh, it's something different. But it's a secondary channel. Just have a secondary channel. You put everything on, and just leave it. Just leave it as that's your secondary channel. But again, other YouTubers, I guess, see it differently. I know that for algorithm purposes, this channel can be a nightmare. I totally get that. I totally get that the algorithm may have a hard time recommending videos to people other than thinking, okay, there's a lot of crossover with this hockey guy channel. I'll recommend to them, which is fine. That's part of the reason why a lot of the thumbnails on this channel have me on them, because I know people are more likely to click on that. And my rep from YouTube is like, actually, that's a really good idea. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. So, right. But at any rate, I hope everybody's having a good soon-to-be spring. It's just absolutely gorgeous out there. Now, I know it's going to get cold again this week, but not as cold as it was, and we're getting closer to April. So even when the long-term forecast says it's going to get cold, I take that with a grain of salt, because I know it's not going to get that cold. It's just too close to spring, so it'll be fine. But at any rate, I hope everybody's had themselves a good weekend. And yeah, I'm debating about whether or not to just change the formula for how I do reviews on the channel for, again, the really busy nights or for matinees, and whether or not I should, consult. I honestly think I should just go with the way that I'm most comfortable, and again, just keep my fingers crossed people are along for the ride. So thank you guys so much for being along for the ride thus far. And for people who watch all my videos, especially like when I'm talking about Love Island and dating shows and stuff, thanks. Because honestly, I do enjoy watching that. People call it trash TV. I can't disagree with it, but it's fun. I enjoy just that mindless, because after all these hours, 21 hours this weekend of writing notes and watching the games and all this, now I just want like that mindless fun, which to me, the Traders is that. My God, though, how I would play Traders. So once I'm done watching all these, I want to make a list of who I think were the smartest traders on each show. They often get voted out early, and that drives me absolutely insane. The Australian one, watching the second season of the Australian one, I actually yelled out loud at the TV. I swore at it, and I said, none of you deserve any money. So if you haven't watched the Australian one and you get the opportunity, watch it, and you'll know, because there's a point in the season where it's like there's a chance you guys could get traders out, and it's like they all go, that person could be a trader, and they're right there, and then they go, yeah, and then they decide to go after somebody else, and I'm like, no, don't be that stupid. And they were even like, in the previous banishment, they're like, we'll do the vote here, and if this doesn't work, we'll look over there. And so they look over there in the next episode for like 5 minutes, and they're like, like they've got ADHD or something. I don't know. It's so maddening to me. Like, so now I'm rooting for the traders. I'm like, you know what? They don't deserve any money. They don't deserve to win anything. The faithful are just morons. And there's 3 people who've been voted out of what I've watched thus far that have said, you guys are dummies. You guys are stupid. And I can't remember the last time I saw faithful getting voted out and back to back going, you guys are really dumb. You guys are stupid. Because you can see them turning on somebody, and you can see that person going, I'm next, aren't I? Why? No, I'm a faithful. Oh my gosh, seriously? Go after that person. You keep wanting us to go after that person because they're a traitor. No, we're going to vote you out. Fine. And I can identify with begging and pleading with people to understand what I'm trying to say. and them just going, nah. And I don't mean that from a YouTube perspective, I mean that from previous jobs. As a first aid attendant, there were times where I was like, okay, your arm's really buggered. You need to not do that job anymore. And then, you just go to your lead hand, go to your supervisor, and if they give you any flack, come to me. I will go and talk to them. Or I would just go and talk to the supervisor and go, look, that person can't be on that job. Go to the lead hand and say, that person can't be on that job. They need to rest their arm for a while. So here's what they should be doing. And then the next day I walk into the plant and they're on that job. And I would kind of walk over, put my hands in the pockets of my smock and go, what are you doing? You sure you're supposed to be doing that? Because remember yesterday? You're not supposed to be doing that. So I would get them switched off. But yeah, it's frustrating because people will generally just not listen. Or there'd be, well, you're not a doctor. I never said I was a doctor. I'm a first aid attendant. My job is to make sure that you don't get hurt and need to see a doctor. So my job is supposed to be to keep you away from the doctor, and you're making sure you go to the doctor because you're going to make things so much worse. And then it's, well, they wanted to do it. I don't care. I don't care if they... So I totally identify with the exasperation I see on this show when faithful are just like, I think we're going to vote you out instead. And it's like, no, vote out the traitor. So I get it. I get that whole frustration. But at any rate, it's a fun show. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it. And again, the second season of the Australian one, unless you have a problem with your temper, because there is a point in that season where you're like, this is a turning point. This is where, if they want to do this right, and then now we're just going to steer this into the ditch. Well, why not? You've steered the rest of the season into the ditch. I also think the Australian host, pretty darn funny. Very dry, and I think his sense of humor very, very similar to mine. I would still say my favorite is the one from the Canadian show. Korean's very good. I would say Alan from the American show is my second favorite, and then I would have the Aussie host as my third favorite. One of my favorite moments being, well, it's a shame so-and-so's gone. He was an actor, and we got to meet an actor. And the host goes, because he's an actor. And he's like, you met me? I'm right here. Am I here? Can you see me? It was really funny. So that I thought was nice. It was subtle. And I think that's part of the appeal I have too. Each show feels completely different. But anyways, I've done enough rambling. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. Again, I am independent. That's why I can make a video on whatever I want and upload it to whichever channel I want. It doesn't mean you can monetize any single subject you want. That's where Google will come in and say, oh, you can't monetize that. But it's not the same. It's not the same as having a boss telling you what to do and everything. So I'm very, very glad I don't have that. Fingers crossed that the YouTube thing continues to be good for me. And thank you guys so much for all your support. It really does make a difference. Yvonne makes a point of bringing certain comments to my attention, positive comments, certain email messages, certain comments on Discord. She will send me screenshots, and so that's greatly appreciated. Again, showing that Yvonne does a lot of work on the back end of the channel, the stuff that's not necessarily all the video stuff, but all the other stuff she is quite adept at, and I'm very grateful. So, at any rate, yeah. And part of the reason I want to look at changing up my schedule next season is it'd be nice to spend some time with her. There's been times this season where she's been pretty sad that she can't spend time with me, or she'll go out and do something fun, but since I have to stay here, she just messaged me and says it doesn't feel right because you're not here with me to do these things, and you should be here. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I know, but I can't be. And so I want to change it so every now and then I can say, you know what? Yeah. And again, I know it's me. I know I did that. I can fix it. Thank you guys so much for all your support, though. This channel's almost to 28,200 subscribers. It's been just creeping slightly up, and then it goes slightly backwards again. So it's just kind of at that stage where things are could go either way, but it's fine. Again, this channel's the secondary channel. Everything goes on there. So if you're interested in the everything else, welcome and stick around. I will talk to you again soon.